March 16th, 2021 Commission on the City Plan meeting. Just read a few rules before I turn it back over to Frank. It's a web-based meeting, so we're operating under the following procedures. We're being audio and video recorded. To ensure sound quality, I'd ask people just remain quiet unless speaking. We don't have any applicants or members of the public so far tonight, so I'm going to skip the rest and turn it back over to you, Frank.
Okay, so we've done a roll call, but I guess everybody should sign in and for the record and let us know who is here. So I'm present, Frank Manfredi. Everybody wants to go through it.
Kathy Warzika, present.
Jason Porter, present.
Swaranjit Singh, present.
Les, you there?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought I said that. Yep.
Okay. So we've taken roll call and we've got a quorum. So
Chairman, so everyone's seated then, all five.
yes.
Thank you.
And so with that, can we have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 23rd, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
We have a
I'd like to
motion.
make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Jason. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, that was Les, or
Yeah.
Les. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Any
have to
opposed
abstain
or
because I wasn't
corrections?
here.
What's that, Kathy?
I have to abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay, yep. So we have a otherwise unanimous approval of the minutes from the February meeting. Do we have any communications, Deanna?
I don't think we do, but Dan, did we get one the other day? Is there something you want to read in? No, we don't.
Okay, so no communications, and therefore we're under new business, and the first matter under new business, and apparently the only matter, is the referral from the city council regarding a merger of the property located at 2325 Lake Street with the Lake Street Playground property to be adequately secured for playground use. So maybe, is this a ordinance referral, Deanna? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, it's a referral for, so it's not really an ordinance. It's a referral so that they can, it's a resolution so that they can take this land. This land is already owned by the city, and it came to our attention that it's being used unpermitted by abutting properties for parking, but it's next to our park, and it really should be made part of the park on Lake Street. And Park and Rec Department want it, and they wanted it to be included, and they're going to fence that portion of the park in to make it a little bigger there. And so that is the intention to do that. So again, it came to our attention when the abutter was interested in purchasing it for parking, and we do our referrals throughout the city, and is there a reason to keep this or sell it? And Park and Rec really want it to be included in part of the park. So that was the determination. It went to the Public Works Capital Improvement Committee, and the referral went to the council to keep it and to merge it into the lake property.
Okay, and so I see the resolution on the screen in front of me, and we're being asked to refer this with the recommendation one way or the other back to the city council for adoption.
So I would ask that this is a favorable recommendation. I think it enhances the park, and it doesn't cost us anything, but because we're making the park bigger, that's why it's before you, because normally it's lots that the city's owned, and so to make it part of the park, that's why it's a referral to you.
All right, so does anybody have any questions or discussion regarding this?
No, I think it's a good use for the land. I'd like to see it.
Seems to
I
make
just have
sense.
one question. This
Go
is
ahead.
Singh. So is this park maintained by the city, or is it maintained by some civic group?
No, I believe it's maintained by the Park and Rec Department, the specific park.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so maybe could we have a motion to refer this with a favorable recommendation back to the city council? Adoption.
Yeah.
Is that less?
So
Yeah.
would it,
So I'll make a motion.
would it be a favorable recommendation to the city council?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, because then the city council has to adopt it. And
Yeah.
if we didn't give a favorable recommendation, they would have to adopt it by a 2/3 vote. And with a favorable recommendation, they just need the simple majority, I believe, is how it works. Is that correct, Deanna?
Yeah, I believe so. I
Yeah.
believe that. I don't know all the rules, but I'm pretty sure that that's right.
Okay. So we have a motion. Was that Les who made the
Yes.
motion? Yeah,
Yes.
and do we have a second?
Saying second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Les King, second by Singh. Any further discussion? There being none, then I would put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, so it carries unanimously to be favorably recommended to the city
So
council.
Frank, what I would like to do for the reasons is I'd like to state the reasons that Kathy Wazika made, if that's okay, on the record.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that matter's been taken care of. Under old business, we have a referral from the city council. This is regarding the ordinance amending chapter 3 special districts by adding section 3.11 business master plan district to the Norwich zoning regulations. And as discussed at the last meeting, this is being proposed by NCDC, and since I am a member of NCDC Board of Directors, I'm recusing myself, as is Singh, I believe.
Yes, I will have to do the same thing.
And so I would turn the meeting over now to Les, who's the vice chair.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, this one we tabled at the last meeting. And it was available. Some of us had read through it, but we tabled it to give people time to read it because it is a pretty extensive document. So Deanne, I don't know if you or Dan want to do a talk about this?
Sure, and I have reviewed it again multiple times, and so I have a couple recommended changes, and I have spoken about these to the attorney for NCDC that I would want you to consider. But before I get to them, to this ordinance, I would like to ask the 3 members that are seated if they have any particular questions before I get into the 3 comments that I have.
I do, of course.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it says, right, the first page says that, that the master plan requires certain fluidity and in order to accommodate market changes during the complete development of the property, blah, blah, blah. So, and then when you go on later on in the document, it says permitted uses, and it has like a list of 10 uses. Those 10 uses, I think, are very limiting. And if we are going to allow this in other areas of the city, if, you know, I mean, if that ever happens, but we should be a lot more flexible here. I mean, we are going to be requiring a master plan that outlines the uses, and then the uses will be set in stone at that point in time. So I would suggest that we add something that this list is a non-inclusive, you know, it's not all inclusive. So if we can, you know, because I think, you know, maybe there's an area that we would want to have retail uses there. And maybe, in fact, this property, we would want to have retail uses there. I mean, you don't know. So I think by listing these very, very, very specific uses, we're really limiting what we can do in this district. So my suggestion is we add that, I mean, could we add that this is, you know, what is it, non-inclusive list. So it can.
So Kathy, I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt you, but number 10, which is other uses as permitted in the underlying zone in which the business master plan district is located when specifically identified at the time of the business master plan district application. So in that particular zone, let's just say in a general commercial area, you could have retail. It's allowed in the underlying
Right,
zone.
but if the underlying zone is residential,
Mhm.
then it can't. So I
Yes.
think we need to add flexibility in that.
So how would you want to phrase that as far as you
Um,
want them to, is there anything that you would want to come back?
Yeah,
Like, say that
I
they
do
added
have-
something you didn't like.
I do, no, that I don't like that. And I think these are very, very limited uses.
Okay.
So I think I do have wording for that because we put it in our regulations in Preston.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
I think it's a non-inclusive list of uses. So we can, if, they're gonna come before the city council as the zoning authority, and the city council really, like I said, they're going to set the uses in stone at that point in time. So in my opinion, we don't really even need, unless there's something you don't want to have there, we don't really even need this. We just need to say, I mean, you can put the uses to give as a guideline, but we should allow for flexibility. That's my point
Okay,
there.
so would we make a recommendation, like, okay, so let me just clarify. So if we kept this permitted list, let's just say it was kept
Yeah.
like this, and add a number 11.
11,
A
yep,
number 11, so something like that, add a number 11 that would say other uses that may be appropriate.
or something like that, as determined appropriate by the,
That may be
zoning
by the council?
yeah, and if you want, you can even say, as they can get a recommendation from the planning commission or.
But I think they would have to
whatever.
anyways, because when they do set the thing, it's going to be a zone change. So it has to
Right.
go to you anyways.
Right, so
Other uses that may be appropriate
appropriate
as determined by whom?
by the,
Okay, just the one who just leave it that way?
yeah, or the zoning commission. I'll give you some wording that I have because I didn't really look it up.
Well, I want to be careful because if we make the recommendation tonight, which I think they were hoping
Okay.
for, so could we just say other uses that may be appropriate or deemed appropriate?
Appropriate, yes, this is a non-inclusive list. That means it doesn't include everything.
Okay,
And other
you want to
uses-
say that in number 11. This is a non.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to take this conversation. What does everybody else think?
No, to me, it sounds good. It sounds to make it a non-inclusive list.
Yes,
Okay, so how about we take number 10 and we change number 10? Because number 10 says, other uses as permitted in the underlying zone in which the master plan is located when specifically identified at the time. So everything's right there except for the underlying zone. Other uses as permitted in the underlying zone or deemed appropriate or something in the zone.
I would make it a 11.
Okay, so
Make
11.
it
What do you want to say, Kathy? Give me some language. Other uses that may be
okay.
deemed appropriate?
Yes, that's fine.
Is that it?
As other uses as deemed appropriate by the zoning commission. And that
Which is
this
the
is a
council.
not, yeah, right. This is not a, I would put in there, this is a non-inclusive list. So other uses as appropriate may be approved by the zoning commission. How's that?
All right, master plan. Okay, so why don't we make, okay, so I think this is better. How about 311.56 at the top where it says permitted uses. Permitted uses shall be established by the master
like it.
plan. This is not a
Non-inclusive list.
This is an non-inclusive list and may include other uses. How that?
Yeah,
Deemed appropriate by the council?
yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. we'll
I
do
like that. Yes, I like
Okay,
that.
so let me read that back. So under 3.11.5.6, under permitted uses, the first sentence will say permitted uses shall be established by the master plan. This is a non-inclusive list and may include other uses as deemed appropriate by the council.
Right, perfect.
Okay, and we'll put that at the top there and then the list is underneath it.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, should that be as deemed appropriate by the council or by the zoning commission?
well,
It
the
should be
council
by the
is the
zone-
zoning commission.
I know, but it should be the zoning commission because
Okay.
technically, yeah,
You know,
technically, they're the ones that are making the decision.
Yeah, because they're wearing that hat at the time that they do that.
Okay,
Can I put zoning commission / council just so they
Yeah.
can word it? Okay.
absolutely. Bill, the town attorney should be able to correct it if, you know,
Yes.
whatever.
All right, so that's one thing. Go ahead, Kathy. What else you got?
All right, so let me just keep going. All right, wait, I gotta get my. All right, so that was my first thing. My second one was, Emma, can you turn that light back on? Okay. There were a few things I really did not really love, because I don't think this goes deep enough into how this district should be. So parking. Okay, so we're talking about parking, and I think that what we should do is require that they have, the council or zoning commission may require that evidence that the parking that they're providing is adequate by using a transportation planner or parking planner or whatever, or engineer, just so, and that the other thing.
Okay, so would you, Kathy, then do it like, if I was gonna tweak this, on-site parking area shall be adequate for the proposed uses proposed. The master plan shall establish parking standards that are industry parking standards or shall
Yeah,
parking
yeah, there you go.
establish parking standards. So it should just say shall establish industry parking standards or shall adhere to. How about establish? The master
Yeah,
plan shall adhere to, right?
Yeah, yes, but they
industry.
can, what they can do is they can provide us with evidence that the parking there will meet their needs. Okay, of course, we don't want too much parking, you know, of course.
Yep. But I think the industry parking standards, like if you were
Right.
having a data center, are going to be really low and something else. So
Right.
how about that, tweaking that it says the master
And that-
plan
and
shall adhere to industry parking standards with parking located on site to the extent, same, rest of it not changed.
Yeah. The
Okay.
other thing I just think we should do here is that I think that the zoning commission or the zoning commission may, and it's not in the body of this anywhere, if they need to hire a consultant to review any of this, like maybe they need someone to review the parking, not the parking, the traffic or anything like that. You know, because they're going to come in and they're going to have a traffic engineer, and the traffic engineer is going to say, this is what you need to do. And then nobody really is going to review that. They're going to accept that, and maybe it's not right. And I'm just using that as an example. So what we could do is require that the council or the zoning commission could hire a consultant to review any part of this plan, but make the applicant pay for it. So we don't have to pay for it. Because it's only fair. I don't know how anybody else feels about doing that, but like if we need to hire a traffic engineer to review the traffic standards that they're providing or the traffic numbers or whatever, we can hire someone and we won't have to pay for it. They would have to pay for it.
Where would you think that that's appropriate to put it?
I don't know. I think that
Maybe that's just a recommendation that says that,
at the end of it,
yeah,
I would put something at the end of it saying that in the event the city, the zoning commission needs to hire a consultant to review any part of this plan. And then you can put an example, for example, traffic, parking, architecture, anything like that. The commission or the zoning commission will have the right to hire their consultant, and the applicant shall pay for that.
Okay. In the event that the zoning commission needs to hire a consultant to review, what about any aspect?
Yeah, any aspect.
Of the proposal, how's that?
Yep.
The applicant shall pay for the city's consultant to something to that
Yeah,
extent?
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, in the
But
event that the zoning
you have to
commission,
make sure that the city is the one that hires the consultant.
Yes.
They are the one that pays for it.
because we're saying that in the extent that the zoning commission needs to hire a consultant to review any aspect of the proposal, the applicant shall pay for the city's consultant expenses.
Good, perfect.
Expense.
See, you're excellent at writing these things. All
Okay,
right. I'm sorry, I'm gonna take up so much time.
no, go ahead. I've got a couple of
Sorry.
changes too, but go ahead.
All right, let's see. I think the lighting part of it too, section 3.11.5.5, where you're saying that all lighting shall be designed with full cut off fixtures and facing in a general downward direction. You know what? I don't even think we need any of that. I think we should be, all we need to say is that the lighting should not impact adjacent property owners, because, you know, maybe it doesn't need to have that, or maybe it, you know, maybe it does need to have it, maybe it doesn't need to have it, but I think you don't want to limit what they can do. You want to make sure there's no impact on,
Okay, so
on the
how
butters.
about,
And it's
or
such
how
a
about
picky,
or how about an or? All site lighting shall be designed with full cutoff fixtures and facing in a general down direction, or
Deanna, you know
installed
what?
in such a manner, something, I'm just thinking, a manner to shield and reduce glare on site to abutting properties or something like
Yeah,
that?
something like that. That's a really picky thing. It's not really that important, but, okay. The next thing is, I also don't think we should put any requirement for the buffer, and that the buffer should be adequate to,
So what it says with the buffer, if you read it, the buffer
I did-
has a standard, but then they can modify the standard.
I
And it bumps
know.
right back up to as long as the buffer has enhanced landscaping, fencing. So it does say it's 25 feet, but they may waive it or may not waive it, but reduce it as long as it meets those other things.
right, but here's the thing. What I think we need to make them do is, rather than putting a number in there, because you want them to consider, not that number, you want them to consider how adequate this property is going to be screened, period. So I know that a lot of times when when we're looking at buffers, well, it says it's got to be 50 feet, you got to have 25 feet or whatever of landscaping, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it doesn't need to be done, and sometimes it does need to be more. So I
So do
think
you want to get rid of, are you looking at 1 and 2 and removing them and just having the first part that says that the city council will carefully analyze any buffers between the business plan and surrounding residential neighborhoods and may tailor buffers, get rid of the word standards, tailor buffers to include enhanced landscaping, blah, 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 and not give a distance at all, get rid of 1.
Yeah, me personally, I think that's a better way to do it, but I don't want to be the one to take up this conversation. I think we need some.
Is there anybody else that likes that or wants to leave it in? Dan, we have Les and Jason.
No, as far as either way is fine with me at this point.
It's not a
Okay.
big deal.
I think they'd probably like it, not to have it, but I'm wondering, Kathy, if the people coming forward and looking at it during hearings are going to be freaking out because they'll be like, hey, but they have an opportunity to ask for it to be more or less, you know?
Right. But
So-
I think, yeah, I mean, if you want to leave it, fine. It's not a big issue for me, but I want whoever's considering this to look at the buffer and what is really needed. So if it needs to be 200 feet, it needs to be 200 feet. They need to think about it, and that's by putting the 25 feet in. I think they're not going to think about it. You know what I mean? they're gonna think that 25 feet is the standard, and it should not be the standard.
So I need some, since that one can go either way, because I'm going to tell you right now, most of them are not going to want to give a buffer of 200 feet. So the 25
No,
feet
I
is,
know.
you know,
No, I-
so, and they'll be upset because if we come and have a hearing and a meeting and they go, that's taking away tons of our land to do this buffer for the neighbors when I'm just worried, and I agree with you, but I understand that they, as a developer, that they may feel that that's too extensive and that's too much, you know, wishy-washy. This way, they can make it flexor. They just can't make it bigger.
All right,
but they
just,
can enhance
yeah,
it.
leave it that way.
Okay.
That's all right with me. I don't care.
Okay,
It's
so we'll
not,
leave.
it's not a big deal, but I just want the council to think about what they're doing. That's
right.
my point.
So do you want to know, is anyone curious on what my comments were?
Oh, wait,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a few
Oh,
more.
Kathy Moore?
Yeah.
Kathy, keep going.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything too.
Okay. Minimum district size of 200 acres.
Okay,
Why?
hold on, what page? Get to,
That's, well, the pages aren't numbered, but it's on
I know.
the third page. It's 3.11.5.1.
yeah, okay, good. I'm just finding things. Okay, go ahead.
Why
Minimum district size.
why 200 acres? Why not
That's-
100 acres?
That's what their applicant wanted to propose.
Okay, but it excludes, it could exclude other areas of the town. Why do 200 acres? I personally think we should go lower. And then there might be other areas of town that we could use this zone for.
Does anyone else feel that way? Do you think it should be reduced down less, or Jason?
No, I think there is something to that, 100 acres. It's hard in Norwich to put 200 acres together.
Yes, it
It really
is.
doesn't exist. But
It seems like a lot of acres to me.
Right, so I think it would be much more usable if it were less, like 100 acres or something. Even that's very difficult in Norwich to put together.
Yeah, I agree. At first, I was talking to my husband about it, and I said, why not 50 acres? I mean, if we could give 50 acres together, that would be good, but I think that's a little too low. So, you know, I don't know.
Okay, I could say that be changed to.
Yeah, 100 acres. But you know what else we could do is put a section in there, a minimum of minimum of 100 acres. But the zoning commission could waive this requirement if they feel it's in the best interest of the city. You know, something to be a little flexible there. You know,
Okay, minimum 100 acres of contiguous land and one or more parcels. Okay, how about this? A minimum of, oh, that's right. How about, oh. Yeah, that one's hard. So I was gonna say a minimum of 100 acres or less of contiguous, but the thing is, in one or more parcels. Yeah, I guess if you did it that way, you're still saying or less. A minimum of 100 acres or less of contiguous land in one or more parcels under common ownership.
but you don't want it to go down to 25. You know, you might not want it to go down to 25.
Okay.
But I mean,
a minimum of 20. Then do you want to be at a certain number? 50?
I don't know. What does everybody else think?
200 sounds like a lot. 50.
Too little.
Do you want to stick at the 100, Kathy?
Yeah,
Or
what do you think?
75? Do you want, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, this is our recommendations.
Just go with 100.
Okay.
What do you think, Jason and Les?
Yeah, let's 100 sounds good. Let's go with that and see how it works. And
All right. What else you got? I'm keeping
Okay,
those
just
notes
one
here.
other, a few other things. Okay. They have minimum front yard 0, minimum side yard 0, minimum rear yard 0. And I know they do say that it's, the dimensions are determined by the master plan, but we don't need to put any of those zeros in. I think that we should say the minimum front yard, side yard, rear yard is to be determined by the master plan.
So do you want me to just get rid of number, like basically renumber, get rid of minimum side and rear yard shall be determined by the master plan.
Well, I need to make sure that I don't want to be the one.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, is that, what do you think? I mean, I think it was, this is just the way they proposed it. It's sort of the same thing. It's sort of the master plan, except for Kathy, you know as well as I do, we might want to push them back, but they might want to take advantage of that right at the property line.
Right, the 0, but, and you know what, I don't know if I really support right on the property line, you know what I mean, because it's somebody else's property line. But I think that should just be determined by the master plan. But what does everybody else think?
That's not my level of expertise.
Les, what do you think?
No, I agree. I don't think it's good. It's ever good to go right up to the property line, because there's always a question on where it really exists,
Right,
access to it, and who takes care of it. And I do like the setbacks, or the, you know, the space from the
Right.
property line.
All right,
All
so
right.
how about this? Number 4, minimum front, side, and rear yard shall be determined by the master plan. Eliminate number 5 and then number 5 and 6 and make maximum building height number 5 as such height approved by the master plan. Or
Yeah,
make the
that's-
whole thing minimum, well, I guess that's saying minimum yards. Why don't we do that just the same as maximum building height? How about minimum
Yeah. Yep.
yards?
Yep.
Such yard shall be approved by the master plan?
yeah,
Or such, okay, minimum front, side, rear yards. How about that? And
Yep.
then just, and do the same thing. Such yards shall be approved by the master plan. Similar language.
as approved by in the master plan.
Okay.
In the,
Oh,
on
such
the,
height
on the
as
master
approved.
plan, yeah, on the master plan, yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
All right, so let me tweak that. Okay. We combined to say minimum, okay, minimum yard, front, side, and rear yards, colon, such yards shall be approved, as approved on the master plan. We'll do that, okay?
That's good.
All right, so let me tweak in that. All right, that was 3, 5, 1, okay.
Okay. Then the next thing, architectural design,
Yep,
okay? It says, all new construction shall be designed to provide a high-quality appearance consistent with the contemporary standards, and all selected materials shall be durable with subtle colors and uniform treatment.
mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, who's going to make that determination? It should not be the developer, because that's what's going to happen.
Well, I guess, well, they could make the determination and bring it, and the council's gonna have to agree to it, and then you're gonna look at it too. And the reason this was actually sort of added in on my part, I'll be honest with you, because
Okay,
they didn't want any architectural design at all.
Yeah,
They wanted
you
it
know
free
I'm
for
with
all.
you on this one.
They want a free for all, and I was like, they were like, well, we don't want to say everyone has to use rock, or put stone foundations, and I said, well, this is the thing. If you're a master plan, you want to make different from what you were saying as a business park, which were individual lots. It is a business park, but we're doing this as a master plan. And so as far as I'm concerned, a master plan has a look, has an aesthetic, has a
Yep.
feeling. And I said, so we're not tying you to an architectural design. We're not saying that everything has to be rock or wood or, or concrete, masonry block or anything. We're saying you got to have a consistent look. You've got to figure out what your materials are going to be. And then when you sell these lots or whatever you're going to do, they have those choice of colors, palettes or whatever, and that's how it looks. So it has a consistent look to it. And that's why that was really something I was pushing for, because there was some pushback about being more specific. And at least we could say, yes, it has a consistent look. This is the materials list. This is what they're going to do. Than having a free for all. Because I was like, I don't want to see one metal building being bright red and the other, we're saying this is a master plan. So that was my language actually, Kathy, on that.
Okay, no, I don't have a problem with your language. I just think it should be, who's going to make that determination? Okay, and I think, I want to be able to, as a planning commission member, I want to be able to, because I know Mike is always saying, you can't say anything about architectural. Well, I want to be able to say something about the architectural design when it comes to the commission. So if we could just add some wording about that. And, you know,
But you're gonna get a refer because don't forget, these site plans, each individual site plan has to go to the commission.
right, but the thing is, I want to be able to, as part of a site plan,
Okay.
to comment on the
Well,
architectural.
we should be able to,
design.
because it's in our site plan requirements require that they give us elevation views and do that.
I know, but whenever we talk about it, everybody says we can't really tell them how to make what their building look like. And the perfect example is that, what is it, that place in Greenville across from where the supermarket used to be, what is it, Dollar General. Remember, we couldn't say anything about the architecture of that building. So I want to make sure we can say something with this. So that's my own.
How do you want to work, how would you want to say that so that we can, all new construction shall be designed to provide high quality appearance consistent with contemporary standards, and all selected materials shall be durable with subtle colors and uniform treatment. And
Acceptable to the zoning commission and with recommendation by the commission on the city plan. I just want to make sure that we have the say in it, not them.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all new construction shall be designed to provide a high quality appearance consistent with contemporary standards, and all selected materials shall be durable with subtle colors and uniform treatments. As acceptable to the zoning commission and referred to the commission on and something, I don't know, I can't think of the wording, as acceptable.
Wait a minute, I just had it a second ago, but I can't remember. I can't think. As approved by the
How about, as acceptable the commission on the city plan as a referral?
yeah, something like, yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we do have the jurisdiction over the architectural stuff. That's it.
Okay, on the city plan as a referral. Let me read that again, okay? All new construction shall be designed to provide a high quality appearance consistent with contemporary standards, period. How about that?
Mhm.
All selected materials shall be durable with subtle colors and uniform treatment as acceptable to the commission on the city plan as a referral, as acceptable to the commission on the city plan, which shall receive a referral or something.
Well, that,
I don't know.
oh, wait, as approved by the commission on the city plan during the site plan process.
Okay.
That would
Okay.
work.
Okay, let's do this. All selected materials shall be durable with subtle colors. As what? As approved?
As,
And, okay, okay. The commission, how about this? The commission on the city plan shall approve or architecture?
yeah,
What?
during the site plan process.
Architecture.
I just want to make sure. And then, however, it should be consistent with, all your other stuff that's in there.
Okay, so how about
that
this?
will be good.
Here we go. All new construction shall be designed to provide a high quality appearance consistent with contemporary standards, period. All selected materials shall be durable with subtle colors and uniform treatment, or just keep the whole thing the way it was, okay? And then the next sentence, the commission on the city plan shall approve the architecture during the site plan process.
Yes, that's good. Oh, okay, one other thing, and I'm
Hold
just looking at this as being more universal than just one spot. And maybe contemporary is not going to be appropriate in another location.
But I think it meant with shall be designed for high quality appearance consistent with, well, I think the whole point is the business park standards. A business park is going to have like a look, like a data
Right.
center look is going to.
But if this is somewhere else, I think I just want to make sure it's flexible enough that if we end up with something somewhere else,
Okay. All
so we
construction,
could maybe,
all construction shall be designed for a high quality appearance
Just leave it this way,
Okay.
Deanna. You know what? I think we have enough flexibility there. I don't want to
Okay,
put you through hell.
what else you got?
Is that enough?
I have more.
No, that's enough. I think that I would have liked this to be a little bit more,
Beefed up?
yeah,
Okay, so there was some review, pre-review that went back and forth, and some of this was, you know, beefed up. This is a lot beefed up than what it originally was, I'll tell you
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And, you know, could have been more, yes, but there was a lot of negotiations back and forth of making sure that there was a lot of flexibility and not being too tight. So.
well, I think now can you tell me this is being proposed by NCDC, is that
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Okay. I think that we have to look at it by not just, if we're going to allow this in other areas of the city, we need to look at it so that it is a little more beefed up because it can be used in other locations.
yeah, and I
So
get
that's
that.
just my only comment. And you know what? If you, I'm not going to say anymore. All
Okay.
right. I just think it needs to be beefed up a little more, but that's all
So-
right. Did you
like-
guys look at Preston's floating zone?
So we did look at them and we looked at multiples, and I believe this one might have came from Montville, I think, or Ledger, or, you know, a basis of it, I think, to go. Jason
Yeah.
Vincent was working on this with NCDC was working on this, so.
Yeah.
And
Because
after passed,
the
we
Pres-
worked on it some more.
The Preston one, see, we're also in Preston. We have limited staffing, limited money, so we have to have it beefed up quite a bit.
Mhm.
But I think, you know, I think what they have in, you know, I don't know. You might want to look at that if you didn't look at it.
Before I mention my comments, Jason and Les, do you have other comments too? Because I will tell you the ones that I had.
I do not.
No, I don't have any. I did have one question before I asked at our last meeting, and I was satisfied with that. But yeah, go right ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a few. So the first thing is 311-2-3. Dan, if you can get there, and that was the district expiration. And I
Oh,
have a
yeah.
recommendation of a change. And I've spoken with just so you know, Mark Block is the attorney for NCDC, and I called him and gave him my recommendations ahead of this meeting of what I was going to tell you. So to get him on board and not throw him a loop. So on that one, that I would like to have it changed that on the district expiration, that the section, and this is not specific language, but the section be revisited to include language requiring completion of at least one approved site plan to ensure that the master plan zone is developed and not just held in perpetuity. Because the way that this reads right now, that in that section, if you look at number 3, it says approval of zone change under this master plan, right? Business master plan shall be void without any further action by the city council, and the property shall automatically return to its prior zoning designation unless the site plan for one or more sites in the BMPD is approved within 5 years of the zone change approval. So if they get an approval at 4.5 years, now that zone change is now locked in. And it doesn't say anything about completing it. And so my concern is that someone at 4.5 years comes in and says, I'm going to do a warehouse, just for argument's sake. I'm just picking a warehouse. A warehouse never intends to really do it, but locks it in perpetuity that that zone for that master plan does not revert back. And the intention isn't to have these things sitting there and not being developed. So that my feeling is that some language needs to be changed that requires, and I don't want to say that it needs to be approved and developed within 5 years, because in our site plan, we allow for an additional up to 9 more years. So you could have 14 years, but I don't want to tweak that specifically yet. I want to have that discussion. Do you agree with me that that's something that should be changed?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, yeah, I think that needs to be looked at pretty thoroughly, Deanna.
Yeah. it was kind of like a gaping hole that I didn't realize till
Yeah.
tonight, because I'm like, oh, if somebody could come in just to get a site plan approved really quick, and then it locks us in forever, and then, you know, nothing happens, and then the land is kind of stuck in that zone for,
Yeah.
without ever really anything happening. And the intention is to see things happen in the city.
Yeah, what about, okay, you know how the subdivision, right, subdivision statutes say, okay, if you don't do the work within 5 years,
If you get, yep, you have to.
rest of it is not valid. So if we could do something, so,
But I think
Yeah.
the intention was they didn't know if they were going to, in this particular application, that they were afraid that they may not be able to get something done within 5 years. Let's just say have it approved and then developed within 5 years. That's why there's that, they can grant up to another 5 years.
oh, yeah, no, but I think we don't want to lock everything in. I mean, they can always amend the master plan, right?
Yep,
So that if things don't go their way, they can change it.
yes, but this is the expiration that it automatically.
I know.
screws if they don't get it. So if you're comfortable, that's what I'd like to move forward with, not specific language, but have
Yes.
this revisited, okay?
Mhm,
Les
that's
and
fine.
Jason, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Just a question on that is, I know the land is, for this particular development, it's probably not going to be bought for another 2 years. When would this overlay go on? As soon as they buy it, or they would buy the land
No,
and
the
then?
overlay goes on as soon as the zone change is approved, and the zone change the master plan, that starts that clock. So it's just like, so the clock approves, so they come in with a master plan, that 5 years, they have to have a site plan approved within 5 years according to this. So they could, somebody could come in, not necessarily in this project, I'm talking about any particular, business master plan district that gets approved, and come in under that 5 years just to get something approved to lock it in perpetuity. Because this says here that they can grant one or more extensions if they get an approval, but it doesn't say anything about it having to be developed. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So that's the thing is, it's
Yeah.
like, we can't keep holding, I want it to be consistent and see something. So that's my comment there. Then I have a couple others.
Okay.
Under 311.5.6, the same under permitted uses. I just want to tweak one of them. We have your changes too, Kathy, on that. But number 6 says laboratories, no on-site patient visits permitted. I just want to say that number 6 be modified to laboratories dash on-site patient visits prohibited. Instead of using no, I don't like the word, how no on-site patients, and just say on-site patient visits prohibited. Okay?
why?
Just because, why do we want to prohibit
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
They don't want to turn into medical centers up there. I think that was kind of.
but what if
the-
somebody buys a lot and buys a
I don't
portion
think
of
they
it and
wanted,
wants to
I
have it?
think that they were looking from, and again, this is not my ordinance, this is
Right,
was looking at, and again, maybe Kathy, maybe that comes out of there, because remember the
Yeah.
language that you want now says, this is a non-inclusive list and may
Right.
include other uses as deemed appropriate by the zoning commission. So maybe we just get rid of the no on-site, just laboratories, and then someone can come in for a medical office.
yeah, and then they can, if they want, if the master plan says that they're not gonna allow visits there, then that's what's
Okay,
there.
so just say laboratories and
Yeah.
remove no on-site path, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so modify to remove, okay, hold on. Remove no on-site patient visits permitted, okay? To remove words, okay. All right, so then that was that, now that's changed. And then buffers, what I had is just going back to buffers 11, yep, down there. That the comma between the words enhanced and landscaping be removed, because that's on that sentence on the first paragraph. It says in surrounding residential neighborhoods and may tailor standard buffers to include enhanced comma landscaping comma. It's supposed to be enhanced landscaping.
Okay,
So it's just that. So, and we're gonna keep the rest of that we decided in with the buffers. We weren't
Yeah,
gonna change
that's
that,
fine.
we decided, correct? No, we didn't. We changed that, right? Hold on.
no,
Hold on, buffers.
I think we kept it.
But we decided not to change the 25 feet
Yeah,
thing? Okay,
yeah,
we kept
yep.
it. All right, so do you want me to give you, before you make a decision on this, do you want me to give you a recap of what we've changed or what our recommendations would be?
Sure.
Is that comfortable for everyone?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so then if you want to do it, then you can make an affirmative with the same, with these
So-
stipulations or something,
Right.
recommended changes. Okay, that 311.2.3 district expiration, that the section be revisited to include language requiring completion of at least one approved site plan to ensure that the master plan zone is developed and not just held in perpetuity.
perfect.
3.11.5.1.1 be changed to 100 acres. 3.11.5.6 state at the top, hold on, let me get back there. You have that, Dan, okay. After the first sentence, permitted uses shall be established by the master plan, to add the sentence, this is a non-inclusive list and may include other uses as deemed appropriate by the zoning commission / council, or something to that effect, okay?
Yep.
Then we go to 3.11.5.6, number 6 in there, be modified to remove the words "no on-site patient visits permitted." Okay. Then we go to, I'll go back up, I'm sorry, I missed one. 3.11.5.4 parking. Dan, if you could move the page. Yep. The second sentence shall be modified to remove the word establish and replace with adhere to industry before the words parking standards. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it says, the second sentence shall be modified to remove the word established and replace it with adhere to industry before the words parking standards. Okay,
Okay.
and hold on. Under 3.11.5.2, and when we do the, when I do this to the council, I'll make sure they go in the right order. So,
Yeah.
or, and Melinda, if you could do that in the right order too, that we add, a second sentence at the end. The commission on the city plan shall approve architecture during the site plan process. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, hold on. I got a couple of things. Hold on. Just the one with this comma. Hold on. I got that one. No, I think that that's it, unless there was anything else, Kathy, that
Yeah, yep.
I missed.
I have one little thing.
Go ahead.
Uh,
Oh, and one last thing, a new section, add a new section. In the event that the zoning commission needs to hire a consultant to review any aspect of the master plan, the applicant shall pay for
Mama
the,
said Amar is very cold in the morning.
hold on. In the event that the zoning commission needs to hire a consultant to review any aspect of the master plan, the applicant shall pay for the city's consultant expense. That was another
Perfect.
new section.
Okay, I'm just a little stuck on the parking part.
Okay, go back to
Okay.
parking. So we didn't want to
Yeah.
do that. Okay.
So the industry standards, as accepted by the zoning commission and planning commission on the city plan. So
All right.
I
So let me
think
get
we
there.
need to just have, it's got to be an acceptable standard, and somebody's got to accept it. It's not going to be they're going to accept it.
No,
We're
but
gonna-
what about the industry standards that are like, there's the transportation industry standards that are like, they have the
Yeah.
books, you know?
Yeah, but then we should list that. I think, but I think.
But I
and
think if you
sometimes-
put industry standards, we could argue the fact that those aren't the industry standards, if that's not, I just,
Yeah. So that so the industry standards, and then as reviewed and approved by the commission, by the zoning commission or commission on the city plan. Just, I don't want the standards to be determined by them. I want it to be determined by us. And I want, if, you know, we think they need to have more, or we think they need to have less, that we have that ability, in that if they can prove to us that, you know, they don't need one space for every 200 square feet of office space, then they can prove that to us. So that's, I want to have that flexibility there.
I'm just trying to think of how to write that in that
I know.
section. So Dan, can you show parking? It's 31154, or this, I'm sorry, I have my thing in the way, so that's why I pulled everybody's, I got everyone wrong.
That's why I think if you just say as accepted by the zoning commission or, and.
Where do you want that added in the sentence though? Because I need to tell them.
Plan, okay, the master plan shall establish parking standards.
What we had, we
Industry-
instead we were changing that, the second say, not the
Yeah.
parking, that shall establish and replace with adhere to, instead of shall establish, but you can leave establish if you want.
As approved by, yeah, right after that, after standards, as approved by the zoning commission or the commission on the city plan, whatever you want to put in there, I don't care. I just want them to prove that whatever they're providing is
Okay, so the master plan shall, well, let's put this again, adhere to industry standards, hold on. Industry parking standards. What about as acceptable? How's it,
Yeah.
is it acceptable?
Yeah, as acceptable.
As acceptable. So, to the zoning commission, comma,
Yeah.
with parking located on site, is that what you want?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, so let me read that again. The parking plan shall adhere to industry parking standards as acceptable to the zoning commission, comma, and then the rest with parking located on
Yep.
site.
Yes, perfect. That's good. I feel better.
Okay,
I think it does what we want it to do. It's a little more flexible and a little more definitive in areas.
okay.
All
All right, so those were all the changes. Do you want to move on? And Les, do you want to see if there's if you're comfortable with, and then I would say the last thing I wanted to bring up, we really should have a reason of why to support this referral to you. And if you want to go back to the memorandum of support of the application, Dan, can you show that? It's the next page. Really closer to the bottom of that the page where you see the addition of a business master plan district will enhance the general welfare of the city. And then it's in our POCD under support economic development, and it gives the economic development is important to the overall development and economic health of the city and its residents. This includes retaining and supporting the businesses in Norwich today and attracting new business development in the future. It also includes attracting land uses and activities which provide meaningful employment and which provide more in municipal revenue than they require in municipal services. So if you, and you don't have to read all that, but if you want me to take that and just say, as stated, you know, that portion as stated on the memorandum, I can do that as your reasoning. It's up to you.
Yeah, that's fine. And then just add that the ordinance, is it in the ordinance? The
Yep.
ordinance as with the recommended changes will allow the master plan district to be flexible while preserving important resources and promoting economic development. So it will be,
Okay, so I'm going to read that back to you. Ordinance with recommended changes will allow the master plan to be flexible. Go ahead.
yet flexible yet.
Melinda, do you happen to write down what Kathy said?
I did
Well,
not.
Okay, wait, I got it.
But we
I
have it
got it.
recorded.
Hold on.
Okay, no, I got it. Will be flexible while allowing the zoning commission and the city plan to review, oh my God, let's see.
We can look at what you already said if you want. and
Okay,
just-
no, that's all right, whatever, just put that.
The ordinance with recommended changes will allow the master plan to be flexible while allowing the zoning commission and CCP to review.
No, to protect the quality and character of our community,
Okay.
while
quality-
promoting economic development.
Protect the quality and what? I'm sorry.
Character
Character
of our community.
of our community. Hold on. Go ahead. While encouraging economic development?
Yes, promoting economic.
Promoting.
Or encouraging, whatever, something like that.
All right. I'm going to read that back. So so the reasoning would be that the section that's right here in the support economic development statement there. Furthermore, hold on. Furthermore, the ordinance with the recommended changes will allow the master plan to be flexible while allowing the zoning commission and CCP to protect the quality and character of our community while promoting economic development.
Yeah, that's good,
All right.
good enough.
Okay, good. So I guess at this point, we're ready to entertain a motion for action on this issue? The actual motion itself,
I'll make that motion with all those comments.
okay? We have a motion made. Do we have a second?
I'd like to second that motion. This is Jason.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimous. There were no opposition or abstentions. Everybody said aye. So it passes unanimously. Thank you,
Good.
everybody.
And what I will do, Melinda, I will write all this in that order and then I'll send it to you tomorrow, okay?
That would be perfect. Thank you very, very much.
I know it was a lot, so we'll make sure that we address these things for you in the most ease for the minutes, and so then I can get that referral over, so.
sorry about that.
No, it was perfect. That's what we needed to do, so. all
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Great. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. So Frank, I will now turn the meeting back over to you.
Okay, thanks, Les. Thank you, everybody, for getting that through. Second matter under old business is 6112 West Thames Street, the tree cutting in the conservation easement. We have an update coming.
So I'll give a quick update for you on this. So they're not here tonight because they just about a week ago put the conservation markers in now. So the markers are in, the tree forester is going to be going out, I think you told Dan, in the next week or two. And he will go out there and do his evaluation, which is being paid for, if you remember, by the towers at the Trading Cove over there that had done encroached into that conservation area with cutting the trees. So at the next meeting in April, we expect to have his report and the resolution regarding that, okay?
Right, so we don't need any action on this.
You could just table it if you want, just table it to April's meeting.
Okay, can we
Yeah, I'll
have a
make a
motion? to take- Les?
Motion. Yep.
Okay, second.
I'd like to second that motion. Jason?
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that's tabled to the April meeting. Extension requests, I see none on the agenda. Bond reduction or release requests, I see none on the agenda. Other business discussion regarding amending subdivision regulations to increase the fee required for open space to correlate with Connecticut general statute. So that would be also a recommendation to the city council to change the regulations.
So,
correct?
yes.
no, is the subdivision, doesn't that come under the planning commission?
Mike
No?
We
Driscoll
don't
said
pass
no,
any
it's in ordinance.
regulations. We don't have the authority to make regulations.
Ooh.
ordinances.
It's under the ordinance that it's still a council, so you could make a recommendation on this, or do we want to make a recommendation to increase, and I get this, and the 10% of the fair market value of the land, if you've all read this, it's been up on the website here for a couple of months. The other option is, a lot of communities do it differently. And they set a dollar amount that's reasonable. Our $100, we all know, is way too low.
No, I just do it I think just do it the 10%. That works really well, the fair market value.
So how do you feel though about the appraisal thing? Because I don't know how it's worked in
No.
other communities with
No problem with it.
being selected jointly by the commission and the applicant.
Yep, no problem with it. If what we've done in Preston, and I hate to bring Preston into it, but
No, it's interesting.
what we do in Preston is they're really a lot more flexible with things. We require that, and no one has ever complained about having an appraisal done, because the appraisal is done on the land before the subdivision is done. So it generally makes the appraisal less than what, you know, a normal appraisal would be. So we've never had anyone
Do
complain
you
about
ask
the
them to
appraisal.
do that, Kathy, as part of their application? So the appraisal comes in with the application, or is it part of, when do they
Nope,
do it?
what we do is approve it with the condition that they hire a Connecticut licensed appraiser. Okay, and we can approve it. They're supposed to give us 3 names, but you know, there's only like 2 in southeastern Connecticut that do this. So they will provide the appraisal. They can pick, we allow them to pick whoever they want to pick, provided it's one of the, one of the people within, you know, that's licensed and works within southeastern Connecticut. So,
Can I make a suggestion? Can we ask Deanna and/or Kathy to write up a proposed change to the ordinance to refer to the city council that we can then make an actual referral on at our next meeting?
So, yeah, or if you want to just make if you want to recommend, Frank, that if you all like this aspect, what you can do is you can ask me to make that you're making a referral, that I will write it up and send it to the council as a recommended change for them to consider or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's fine.
saying, except that maybe we have the language ready for them so they don't have to think about it too hard.
right, I agree.
So have the ordinance kind of written up, like have Mike and I work together, Mike Driscoll, to come up with the ordinance language for it?
I mean, and Kathy can help you
You know
import it
what?
from the
I have it
Preston
all-
regulations.
We have it all written. We use it all the time. We have over
Have the ordinance language already
$150,000 in
written?
there.
So you have the ordinance language written, you're saying?
I have the
Yeah.
regulations that we have that you can use as a format for your ordinance.
Yeah.
We also do a policy which says, you know, we will accept open space only under certain conditions. And actually we're going through revising our subdivision regulations right now. So what we did is actually put that policy right into the regulations. So I can send you what we have done.
Okay.
And like I said, it works really well. We have a lot of money. We've already bought 2 pieces of open space, and it's been very successful. We have a lot more subdivisions than Norwich does, though, so that might make a difference.
So why don't we do this then? Kathy will send me information. I will try to put it in some format for you guys that we can talk about it next month again. And then at that point, how's that sound?
Yeah, I think we need something definitive to send to the city council, not just say we recommend
Okay,
that you adopt this policy, but give them the language to do it.
okay. That sounds good, Kathy. I'll get the information from you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, so.
So then we'll table this. Why don't we table this for next month too, or put it as old business next month? We'll continue.
Yeah, put it as old business for next month.
Okay.
Okay, and
The agenda.
any other business before the POCD meeting reminder?
Dan, you have the agenda back up?
Yeah, that's it. But I want to let you know right now that I'm not going to be able to make that POCD meeting on April 14th. I have another obligation that I
So
have to attend to.
So we're still, we have a lot of stuff to do now that we have all that information. And to be honest with you, we've been very buried in this office dealing with a lot of things such as this ordinance and, the business master plan and a bunch of other stuff going on. So we haven't been as committed to doing this, getting ready for this next meeting to do a report. Would it be possible for, and you're the chairman and the commission is the lead on this. Can we put it Do you want to have a meeting or can we put it off to the next date at the POCD?
Yeah, why don't we just put it off till the next date? I mean, like I said, I can't be there on April 14th. I have an obligation I have
It's
to
not
go to.
till July, it's July 14th, but if you want to cancel that meeting and that'll give us more time to work on it since things are kind of still crazy with COVID stuff and figuring out if we're opening and what's happening around here.
Yeah, that'd be fine. And you want to just cancel for now and then reschedule?
Yep, so, but we have the date though, so we'd be like, we're gonna cancel that meeting and we'll do the meeting on July, the next meeting is July 14th.
Okay. That sounds fine to me then.
Okay.
Do you have any kind of a staff report other than what we've gone through?
Met with the Hale Mill today, the owners of the Hale Mill, that's moving forward. They will be coming back to the commission though, because SHPO changed some of the architectural design. The addition on the back did not get approved. The portico in the front didn't get approved. So they've got some changes and that's gonna change some of the, you know, what they intended to do the restaurant, remember, in that outbuilding in the back and be connected, and the pool was gonna be that addition in the back. That's not happening. So the pool's now gonna be in the small building in the back and things are in. And so there's some redesign interior wise because of that, maybe a reduction in some of the rooms, I'm not sure. So we met today about, you know, the next steps in the process because they would like to move forward, but we need to go back to the commission for some of the changes because I want you guys to look at them. I think they're significant enough with the architectural changes and things to just look at that. So they're gonna be working with their engineer and architect to get something to us possibly in for next month's meeting because they're anxious to start moving along. And then they're going to go ask for an assessment deferral under the mill enhancement because the mill has the 15-year enhancement for the assessment deferral. So they want to do that, but that can't be reviewed until the approved plans are approved, you know, so that the assessor can work off of those. So, you know, for them to move ahead with their financing, get everything set, they need to come into the commission first. So that's kind of where we're standing.
Right.
It's my understanding they're also looking at the property behind them, which they said that they were before, and that maybe that's moving along too to get that property that used to be the Log and Lantern. I believe that part of their vision, but like a second phase of the hotel, once that, you know, that's something else there. But that would come before the commission at a later time. Also working on a project with Regan Minor and Dan Daniska and zoning. And I was working on with Jason Vincent before he passed. The idea was out there and I'm now taking it and moving it forward, which is we're creating a local historic list of properties that we can have reviewed and approved by the council. And so that we can add those under FEMA for the substantial improvements exemption. They're exempted, historic structures are exempted if they're on a national or a national register, a state register, and then there's the local list of historic properties. And so there is some that are in our special flood hazard area, specific in the area of Terminal Way and down on Hollyhock Island, and these ones that aren't in our national districts right now, and they don't have that exemption. So what happens is the value of the improvements to those buildings can be no more than 50% before you have to make them 100% flood compliant. We still want them to make them 100% flood compliant, of course, and to do the improvements they need to make, but that value, that 50% value kicks in really fast if it's a building that's in really poor shape. So they may not be able to, you know, they want to be able to use some of these buildings and do some of the work with, you know, of rehabbing some of the buildings. So we're sticking our necks out a little bit. We're part of the community rating system. And in Jason's research was that he didn't find anyone in the United States who's done this yet and using the local list for the exemption. So we did check with FEMA. We had a meeting with them and they just said, make sure basically we cross our T's and dot our I's with making sure that they are historic and that they, you know, meet the smell test kind of thing. So Regan Minor is working on, you know, information on each of these buildings and also working, we got information from our environmental consultant who's done a lot of work down in the Shipping Street area and most of these properties is familiar with. So she's given us old Sanborn maps and all the data of history of these properties of what they were used for and what their names might have been originally. So this will really help Regan. And then down the long run, there's the looking at potentially doing a historic district maybe in Thamesville, a National Historic District there in that area, a National Historic District in Yantic, because even though the mill is on it in Yantic and the firehouse, that area is not a district, and there's some really cute and nice elements in
Oh,
there that we
yeah.
want to protect. So there's a lot of work to do. So we're leading the charge first, though, with this special flood hazard, because we do have interest in the waterfront. If you remember, Jason and Tucker were at a meeting about looking at what we could do in the waterfront areas. So there's some potential doing some more water development type of activity there, not necessarily retail and those kind of, more water dependent uses, I guess I would say. So that's a staff report on that. Is there any specific questions for us? Because we can update you on projects too.
I just have a quick question. I know that this has been a thorn in my side. What is going on, and is there any way we could put together something that reduces the size of the square footage of what site plan buildings have to be in order for the planning commission to review it? That's been on my mind for a
I
while.
know. So that is, remember, that was again something for the council to look at. And I think at one point we had talked, Kathy, and it went down from 10,000 square feet to then it was discussed 3,500 square feet. And then it kind of bounced back to 5,000 and then 3,500. So it was never 100% determined, I don't think, of what it was going to be. Do we want to bring this up as another recommendation for council on a second one for next week to talk about?
Can we do what Frank said with the subdivision regulations and propose a regulation that would increase it and then send it to them, so that, I think that's probably the only way it's gonna.
I agree, Kathy. You need to send them something that they can look at and say, okay, we like this, we don't like it. And at least
We
they
can
can
do that.
act.
So it's really decreasing the 10,000 square feet to something. And I don't know if you guys want to use a number. I'll leave the number blank and we can discuss that again next meeting. But, I'm not sure if we want to wait till NCDC has a new, president there, because I'm just telling you, because there was a lot of reluctance when we originally talked about this with NCDC, with the president at the time, which was Bob Mills, that did not want to see that. He thought that was specifically put in there when Jason worked on the regulations to be much more open community, that people would want to come here and not have to go to the commission for everything. And they liked that 10,000 square feet as a number.
But my comment to that is, I think that the planning department does a good job putting these things before the planning commission, and it doesn't really create a huge amount of time that we review it, but it does give the community their input. And I think that's really important here. So, I think I'm looking at it from a resident of Norwich. And I'm not looking at it as a developer who doesn't care. And so I think we should be able to have a little bit of say in this. So I would ask that we could, I know that we could reduce that. And I think we should be able to provide a good argument for reducing it. And if the commission, the city doesn't agree with it, so be it, but at least we tried. So if we could do that, and I wouldn't have a problem, going down to, 3,500 or 5,000, whatever. But I feel very strongly that we should have some oversight over,
So if you could prepare some language for that too, Deanna, then we can take it up at the next meeting.
All right, so we'll talk about some more, Kathy, and we'll use your number as a starting point, and the commission can bump it back or go lower.
Whatever you want. Anything's better than 10,000.
And I guess my
So
question.
we'll have something to discuss at the next meeting about it then.
So one last question though about that. That's pretty much the standard in all the zones, I think, is the 10,000. Do you want it to apply to all zones, Kathy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, I do, but you know what? I'm one person here.
I know. I'm just saying, but for when I'm working on it, I want to know that, what I'm doing. Am I working at it for all zones, or you want to just say, in certain commercial zones, or do you care about it in the
Maybe-
business parks? Do you care about it in like?
Maybe in the business parks, it can be a little bit more, but we can talk about it. Let's have
Okay.
a starting point.
Okay, so we'll do something. It may not be a full ordinance type of language for next meeting, but let's put it on the agenda and,
Yeah. Put it on the agenda for the next meeting and then we can discuss it.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else to come before the commission tonight? Hearing none, can we get a motion to adjourn then?
This is Jason. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion? We have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Jason and a second by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
My husband said aye too.
All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your participation and your time, and
Thank
we'll see
you.
you next month, hopefully.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good night.